All right, let's do a quick power-up session. This is designed to get you totally ready for your next math quiz.
So if you've got ratios on that study guide, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to cover everything you need to feel super confident walking into that test.
Okay, let's dive right in. Here's our little game plan. First, we'll nail down what a ratio even is. Then, we'll cover how to write them and simplify them. And we'll finish up by tackling a word problem. You know, the kind you'll probably see on the quiz. First things first, let's make sure we lock in the single most important idea about what a ratio is all about.
So really, what is a ratio? It's just a way of comparing two things. That's it. Like, think about a fruit bowl. You could compare the number of apples to the number of oranges. A ratio just tells you how much you have of one thing in relation to another.
This example is perfect. When you hear the ratio of pies to cupcakes was 2 to 3, what does that mean? It just means for every 2 pies that were baked, there were 3 cupcakes. See? It's just a clean way to state that relationship.
Now pay attention here because this is a classic quiz question. You might get asked to compare things in 2 different ways. There's part to part, which is like comparing carrots to corn. But then there's part to whole, where you compare one thing, like carrots, to the total number of vegetables. So you've got to read the question really carefully to see which one they want.
Okay, moving on. Let's look at the different ways you'll be asked to actually write down these ratios, because chances are you're going to need to know all 3 for your test.
The good news is this part's pretty easy. You can write a ratio in 3 ways. You can use the word 2, like 7 to 5. You can use a colon, so 7:5. Or you can write it just like a fraction, 7/5. They all mean the exact same thing. 3 different looks, 1 single meaning. Okay, this right here, this is probably the #1 spot where people mess up and lose easy points. The order is everything. If a question asks for the ratio of, say, boys to girls, your number for boys has to come first. It's absolutely critical.
All right, just like with fractions, you're always going to want to show a ratio in its simplest form. So let's see how we do that.
Following these 4 steps will get you the right answer every single time. First, write the ratio out as a fraction. It's just easier to work with. Then, find the greatest common factor, the GCF. That's just the biggest number that can divide evenly into both your numbers. Step 3, divide both the top and the bottom by that GCF. And finally, boom, you've got your new simplified ratio.
Let's look at it in action. A ratio of 4 boys to 2 girls simplifies down to 2 to 1. And this is why we do it. It makes the relationship so much clearer to see. The simplified version tells you instantly, for every 2 boys, there's 1 girl. Much easier to understand, right?
All right, time to put it all together. Let's walk through a word problem, the kind you might see on your quiz. You've totally got this.
So here's our situation, and a shout out to the Maths Guy channel for this one. We've just got a pile of socks with a few different colors.
Okay, first step is always to figure out what 2 things the question is asking us to compare. Here, it's black socks to blue socks. Remember what we just said about the order?
Okay, let's solve it. We look at our info. We have 2 black socks and 4 blue socks. The question asked for black to blue, so our starting ratio is 2 to 4. Now we ask ourselves, can we simplify that? You bet. The biggest number that goes into both 2 and 4 is, well, 2. So we divide both sides by 2, and that gives us our final answer. So the simplified ratio is 1 to 2. This means for every 1 black sock John has, he's got 2 blue socks. Simple as that. And this is a key term to remember. Our starting ratio, 2 to 4, and our final answer, 1 to 2, are called equivalent ratios. They might look different, but they represent the exact same relationship between the numbers.
And there you have it, your complete ratio refresher. You are officially ready for that quiz. Now that you're basically a ratio expert, try to see how many you can spot in the world around you today. Good luck, you've got this.